Alright, what's up everybody? Welcome to another episode of Vintage Breaks. I am here with Soothing Lou and Lace next to me too. We're about to start Layton's Loft Show. So everybody, please head on over to the Facebook page for Layton's Loft. And Lou, you can start it. As soon as you start it, I'll take off the echo and then Layton can work the headphones.
Please get back to Earl, and if you can't do it, just have someone else do the video clips. Yeah, because he's helping us big time. Oh, yeah. I feel like this is the kind of headphones I put on when I do virtual reality games with my son at the shore. It's really fun. You know, it's one of the cool things about... So, J5, that's the camera?
Yeah.
And where's the chat going to come in? Here?
Yeah.
Perfect. So that's one of the cool things about going to the shore with a 7-year-old often is, you know, like you can rationalize doing something that you would never really be able to do yourself. But yet, because I'm with Kraz, like, oh yeah, we're doing the virtual reality, which is like $5 each. You know, because Crosby wants to do it. I like my new, I could use this as like my new apartment. This is nice. I do like it. I wonder if I could tell my real estate broker that. Hey, what's up, Todd? Welcome. What's up, Tyler? So for everyone who's just joining us, thanks for tuning in today. This is Layton's Loft. It is sponsored by Vintage Breaks, Just Collect, and Otia Sports, as well as ISA Grading. So we are just back from the National. Apologize for having to change yesterday's show, Lou. Thanks for working with us. But, you know, think about it as like a big blizzard before the National. And then, you know how sometimes you're like, you clean up a little bit, but then like another blizzard hits, and you're like, how the F do I dig out? That's all that's happened. You know what I mean? So like, yeah, we're cleaning up, we're breaking, you know, we're doing business most certainly. We're looking at collections. I'm going to have to fly somewhere very soon, which, you know, can often lead to something very exciting. But, you know, all that aside, we're still digging out, and the trucks came by and they plowed us in, and so we're really just doing the best we can to kind of keep our head above water as far as, you know, some people were sick on the front end of the trip. Then the back end of the trip, let me get my water. I don't want to reach too far. Oh, it was great. What's up, Bill? Afternoon, Tom. It was fantastic. What's up, Nick? For a variety of different reasons, of which we're going to talk about right now. So, of course, as you imagine, we're going to do a little recap of the episode that we'll call the 2022 National Sports Collectors Convention in Atlantic City. But as you know, if you listened to this podcast before, we're going to give it to you straight. So there's going to be some things I really loved, some things that were kind of in between, and some other things like, I could have done without that, or I would have changed this, you know? So it's a little weird with the... Oh, there we go. I can sit down comfortably now. So first and foremost, thanks for tuning in today to Layton's Loft. We're going to give away 3 prizes, courtesy of all of our sponsors. There's going to be 3 prizes given away based on your participation. Although I just realized that no one is in here to keep track of that. So I think what we'll do is we're very short-staffed because people are out because of illness. So I think for today then what we'll do is keep it to 1 prize just so that we can do it randomly on the show after this. And, you know, folks can of course tune in. But we are going back to the old way of participation prizes. What's up, Ryan? Thanks for joining us, Ken. It's that, very candidly, so Chris got COVID kind of at the beginning of the trip. He isolated, and then, you know, you can imagine, right? There's tens of thousands of people that come to the National, so you really could catch it from anywhere, but a couple of other guys had it towards the end of the trip. So it made it a little bit more challenging for us to not just do business there, but also to actually leave. And even though it was in our state, you know, some of those challenges made it a little bit more difficult. But we got back. It's, I mean, fastest, like if you think the National's fast, you know it's the second fastest week is the week you get back from the National. I mean, I don't know what's happened in my day, but it's already something 3:45. I still got work to do, and you know, happy to kind of take a break. This is my break. So excited to be here with you all, and hopefully you are as well. Oh, most. Nope. And speaking of the new place, for those of you that are interested, we are at 296 Milburn Ave in Milburn, New Jersey, and our grand opening is going to be on Friday, September 30th. It'll probably be something like 3 or 4 o'clock to 10, but we're going to try to have an athlete here. We've been working on several different options with my friend Brandon Steiner. But we're going to have some food, some beverages, bring down some cards that you want to trade or sell. I'm really looking forward to hosting, our first ever grand opening at a retail store I probably wanted to open up since I was 15 years old. Matt retired, and I saw Matt at the National. He took a pic with me. I appreciate it. It was fun. He seems to be enjoying breaking very much, but also being, a stay-at-home dad, and he's going to kind of figure out his next move. It's almost like if you didn't hold it, who are you? And so for those of you that don't know what Lou is referencing, on display at the National were two very important 1952 Topps Mickey Mantles. They are the 1952 Topps Mickey Mantle PSA 10 from Ken Kendrick's collection. And then there was an SGC 9.5 that was just graded from the gentleman's collection who bought it from Al Rosen when Al Rosen said it was the nicest example that he'd ever seen. That was on display at the Heritage booth as it's up for auction right now, and I believe it's somewhere at $5 million and change. And that was graded an SGC 9.5, which is a Mint Plus. So that's somewhere between a Mint grade of 9 and a Gem Mint grade of 10. I was able to hold the 9.5 in my hands. The 10 they didn't let anyone hold, but we did make a post or two about it, and it was truly amazing to see both those cards in person, because they really should be kind of like, in the Smithsonian or the Museum of Natural History or like something like that. It was great to see it there. It was a little bit tough to tell, Tyler. I feel like I had a great question by Tyler. Which example does he think, does he think I believe is nicer? The PSA one, because it was a little bit far away, was a little bit more difficult to tell. They're both gorgeous cards. That's pretty cool that both were on display. And then speaking of Golden, someone just saying he brokered an SGC T206 Honus Wagner. I don't know if that's true or not. If that's true, that's wonderful for the hobby. But Golden did have someone that I guess had some connection to them, and they came in with a collection of several thousand T206s, which really is just like absurd in today's market and unheard of. Oh, absolutely. Nick, let us know where you heard the info. Credible source, my friend. Definitely 52 Mantle was high on my list to mention. Number 2, this is really interesting. I thought the corporate area was the best that it had ever been. So with companies like Zero Cool and Zero Cool Cards leading the way by trying to promote things like Stranger Things and Dune the movie, there were displays there that you would see at like the New York, auto show. Very cool, Nick. Well, thanks for sharing. That's congratulations to Ken Golden and his team for what appears to be, they brokered a T206 Honus Wagner for $7.25 million, but I'll check that out after the show. Very cool to share that. But I mean, listen, the hobby, just because it's 1 week out of the National, doesn't mean it's resting. That's for sure. So getting back to the corporate area, collectors had a wonderful display with the Ken Kendrick collection, anything from like a 48-leaf page in high grade. I mean, there's just like a Hank Aaron rookie and PSA 10, wild stuff. Hopefully you were able to enjoy that. What's cool is in the corporate area, you also sometimes find a few of the dealers that deal with wax at the high-end level on the modern, such as like Dave and Adams and Blowout. And then on the vintage side, our friends Steve Hart and Rick from Baseball Card Exchange, they were there in the corporate area. And in general, like I said, I thought the corporate area was really, really well done. Felt a lot of energy from it. Of course, Topps is there and Panini, all that kind of good stuff was going on with the card companies. It was great, and you appreciate that as the industry's growing, it's really growing in all areas. So corporate area is nicer, national as a whole is bigger, more younger kids there. I mean, it's I like where the direction of all the currents are going. We're all rowing in the same direction, moving in the same direction. So next on my list, and this is really the same every year, but it's no different this year, is the selection of cards and memorabilia and art and anything and everything in between is phenomenal. So I just encourage you that if you've not been able to make it to the National, you really don't have to go with any budget. I realized it after this one, even though I'm sure I've realized it before. If you look at it like going to a museum for the day, where you can't leave with anything other than maybe some snacks from the candy shop or like the trinket shop at the end. You know, Crosby always wants to get like a snake, right, or a pencil. Other than that, you could really do the National for under like $25-50 a day. And purely from someone who loves this, forget about the buying and selling, treat it like a trip to the museum. You'll be very happy and pleased if you've not done that next. Awesome, Ricky. Looking forward to meeting you next year. Absolutely. Wonderful, wonderful selection of material. Like I said, wax was like off the hook. The stuff that I saw was amazing. Some amazing memorabilia, fantastic cards, goes without saying. I do have some criticisms, and the only reason I'm bringing it up is not that the National is listening, but I want people to understand that it's not all roses, right? It's not all, flowers that smell great. Sometimes there are issues. So Tyler has nailed the first one. The Wi-Fi was so bad. I mean, I was losing my mind. We're trying to produce content. And we realized that when we saw our friends, Jeff and his team from Sports Card Investor and others like him, that they produce content professionally, they were having to go outside the facility. So they were basically no longer taking live video. They were taking video, and then they would go outside with the video and the pictures they took to then post those pictures and video to Instagram, to Facebook, to TikTok, to whatever other platform they're going to be doing that on. You had almost no choice. It was horrible, horrible. And, I couldn't have said it better myself. What's really frustrating is that we know it's possible, right? Like when they have internet, when you're 30,000 feet in the air and they figured out a way to give it to you there, they can give it to you in Atlantic City surrounded by 4 concrete walls. I'm sure you could. These are all wonderful things that we could talk about as you know, Lou. Being a Monday morning quarterback in sports is like a rite of passion. So speaking of that, it's 2022. I bought a t-shirt. It's the 42nd National that just transpired. They did some cool designs, like in the color scheme of the Dodgers, and doing some Jackie Robinson stuff, paying homage. I ordered a couple of the shirts as they had sold out. I've been to every National from the Atlanta show in 1999 since. So I've been to 23 in a row. Kind of wild, right? What was your perception of the National this year from social media, Lou? He was working his butt off. Absolutely. Oh, I love it. I mean, I'm really seeing a lot of young energy in there. Anything from Crosby's age, like 7-ish, all the way up to 15, 18 years old. Lots of kids running around that seem like they're thirsty for knowledge, thirsty for the flip, right? And speaking of being thirsty, one of the negatives, I knew this going in, so I'm not even saying that it's the national could have done anything about it, but you as the consumer can, or you as the dealer can. So earlier in the week, like one of the days, I saw like these guys looked like they were enjoying their pizza. So I'm like, hey, what's the name of that place? So we didn't even think about it. We just ordered the pizza through Uber Eats. We got it. We picked it up outside the convention. And it's like the next day or the day after. I'm like, guys, that worked really well the other day. How about I just buy everyone like some pizzas, and get it. We'll just pick it up outside. And they're like, Leighton, you can't do that. I'm like, well, no, we just did that like the other day. So I guess that was before the public was in. They had signs everywhere of you can't bring in outside food and beverage. I'm like, all right, listen, I get it. However, when you have a staff to feed, it's not really practical to be sending everyone for a lunch break. So on one of the days where, we weren't able to order food, we had like one of our team members go on. I mean, they probably waited like 55 minutes for food. I mean, it's just, they bought food for like 9 people. It's terrible. Well, Lou, you nailed it. So to me, it's only one thing that they have a responsibility to do, which is just simply provide more food. So, and this is really the knock on it, no one who is on the food line that long really wants to be on it, right? So the mother who's on the line, who doesn't even want to be at the show, she's just going to want to leave the show earlier. Bad for all the vendors. The father who's online, who's getting food, who wants to be at the show, is now at the show less. And by the way, his wife is either there or not, but he's going to have to be somewhere else soon. I guarantee it. Especially if he's married. You could bet your bottom dollar he's got to be somewhere. You're killing business, but you're also killing the vibe, right? Like, let's be honest. As good as the boy as Crosby is, if I'm taking him on mine to a place, we've never waited 45 minutes to eat anywhere in our entire lives. No, I'm very grateful for that. But and I go to nice places sometimes with Cros. If we went to a nice place and there's a 45-minute wait, we're going to go to McDonald's. I don't want to eat McDonald's. That's just where I would go. So maybe if it's like a Michelin 5-star restaurant, something like that. But this is really funny. Oh, Monty just brought it up. So there was a smuggling incident of 2022. We were so fed up. We were like, wait a minute. I don't understand. We got to waste another hour and 10 minutes today. And by the way, it's not cheap. So it's not like we're getting a deal. It's $17 a hamburger, right? It's $16 a chicken sandwich and all that kind of wonderful stuff. So somehow we were like discussing, let's bring in, they wanted to bring in White House subs, but that place is crazy busy. So they got Subway. And we're like, how are we going to bring it in? And I loved it. I felt like it was like Mission Impossible. They're like, we're going to bring in dark colored bags and no one's going to be able to see it. And then someone was like, what if they check it? Like, guys, we're not losing the Mona Lisa. They're going to confiscate a turkey sandwich. No. I don't know if they did, Bobby, but all I'm saying is that I heard that, things were tough. There was smuggling of sandwiches. I mean, like I said, this is a show where there might even be $1 billion of merchandise on hand. There's tens of millions of dollars that change hands during the week, or at least millions. And you're telling me that the two biggest gripes are they literally had, I'm not talking internet to break, right? Because we had that because we paid for hardwire. I'm talking about Mr. Average Joe or Mrs. Average Joe who's just there with their grandkids or with their own kids, or they happen to like sports and they're just there together with their significant other or by themselves. I'm saying it was actually very frustrating from any of those standpoints, all the way up to people who do it professionally like myself and Jeff Wilson. I mean, and I love to knock the word comps and make fun of it, but let's be honest, everyone has their way of using data. So let's just say data. Data was really hard to access, and it just slowed everything down. So like to buy one card, which would usually take 3 minutes, then it would take 15 minutes. Because like there was a point, I was walking around with my phone just in case it rang, but J5's phone because the internet worked. I mean, things were bad. I've never had to do that at any national. You know, Lou, that's a really good point. I don't think it was just about the comps. You know, listen, I remember when Crosby was calling me, he was on vacation with his mother. I was trying really hard to be outside when he was supposed to call. And of course, life doesn't work out. They got this or that. They couldn't do it. My point is, I was like so on edge of not being able to get his call. I was leaving the convention just because I knew how bad the reception was inside. Slow it down or just stop it. Right? I mean, listen, there's some people that they get their neighbor to watch their booth when they got to use the bathroom. But, like, they don't want to wait 22 minutes for you to go outside, angle your phone the right way at the sun so you can do a transaction. That was definitely a problem. Another, I would say, more of something that I observed. Never before in my entire life, and I think it's just really a product of the trade nights mentality, have I been offered a quasi cash trade. It didn't matter. It could have been a $150 card. It could have been a $9,000 card. You know, people were like, they didn't even like ask if we would do that. They're just like, hey, would you take this Ty Cobb and $6,000 for this maze? I'm like, whoa, what? What are you talking about? And it's all good. I was having fun with it. Point is like, hey, my name's Leighton. What's yours? Like, remember that tall Teddy Ruxpin? Hi, I'm Teddy Ruxpin. Can we be friends? Like, what happened to the, the connection? So, no, I mean, I'm not kidding. Here's my card. Will you do X plus this for that? I'm like, whoa. Which card do you want? Yeah, and I'm just, listen, right? There's a lot of people in the room, and I want to connect with as many of them as I can. And so it might sound funny or hokey, but it's the truth. I enjoy what I do. So I don't just look at it as numbers. So if you're like someone who's that way, I'm not begrudging you for doing that. I'm just saying the way I personally enjoy it is to get to know each other. I'm not saying we got to go out to dinner, right? But it would be nice to introduce yourself. And to be clear, right, especially for the youngins out there, it doesn't matter what line of work you go into, including branding yourself. It's good to have practical and reliable communication skills. So, I tell Crosby all the time, and now he does it. He always says please, almost always says thank you. And, I want to make sure he understands, when he meets people like at our local restaurant, La Pergola, where we went for lunch today, it was phenomenal. When he says hi to them, like I'll say, hey, Cros, try to look at them if you can. Shake his hand if you're comfortable with that. I mean, obviously, COVID time, things are a little bit different. There's a lot of different. This is really funny. I love the comments we got coming in here. Appreciate everyone's feedback. Listen, the National as an overall was tremendous. Like anything else, you can improve. Tyler brings up a good point. A lot of dealers can be miserable, so guys just get used to doing robotic transactions. Totally hear you. And by the way, Tyler, I don't tell those people I won't deal with them. I just try to make fun of it and try to get to know them. And some of them say, oh, by the way, my name's Frankie Jr. And then, we talk. And then other people are like, dude, do you want the card or not? And then literally I don't go into it any further. I don't even care if it's a good deal. I just say thank you, but we're going to pass. Because, I want to be able to enjoy what I'm doing. Definitely. Once again, there's no right or wrong. It's just this is my perspective. I've certainly learned after going through. Well, I'm not done, but in the middle of my divorce, you will never satisfy everyone. That's for sure. So I'm certainly not going to start at the biggest convention of the year. listen, most certainly, and those people might have had a long night or a long week and they traveled far. I get it. I just think, to be fair, guys, it's a two-way street. What up, Nick? Nice meeting you at the National. It was great seeing you. I think everything's a two-way street. So, I mean, listen, I was at the show at my booths enough. When someone comes up and, like, their pants are on fire and they show you the card in your face and they want an amount of money, like, I pretty much know that likely long-term they're not going to be coming back, especially when they don't ask my name. But someone who comes up and, for example, they say, oh, do you mind if I put a case here? I have some things I'd like to show you. Oh, well, if you don't mind, can you put it over there? Or totally, no problem at all. By the way, do you have vintage? We don't want to waste your time. We're not really buying modern actively here. And that's something that we learned at this show. As much as we do buy modern, we were so inundated with people bringing us material that we had no choice but to say, other than like select Jordan rookies, LeBron, Luka, maybe a couple other things, Brady, Steph Curry, whatever, we're not really interested. Well, I mean, this is like a debate that's going to take a whole other episode. Because we have new business cards and we were trying to figure out, where we were going to kind of cut off, if you will. Like we're saying vintage till what date, right? So it's not 86 anymore. Is it 09, which is Trout? Is it 03, which is LeBron? Is it later? We're not exactly sure, but the reason why we've not chosen like 19, 20, 21, or 22, we just don't want people to offer us every single issue of every card that's coming out. We're already inundated as it is, and we're trying to figure out a better way to serve the leads that are coming in. Yeah. So yes, there's a lot of assets and money changing hands, but make no mistake, cash is really king. I mean, you can get, I don't want to misquote, you could save, depending on the person, like 5 to 12% for cash. And when you're buying a multi-$1,000 card, that's real money. You buy a card for $4,000, the guy tells you $3,700 in cash, you just save 7.5%. It's the same card, it's the same everything, just a different medium to pay for it. So even though, and I know people were frustrated with not paying via PayPal or not having as an easy ability to pay via PayPal, I think that you need to be prepared. So for those who had cash, I mean, I was surprised. This one guy, I don't want to say who it was because it is what, but it was a $4,000 item. I think we paid $3,700 to $3,750 in cash, and $4,000 wasn't a bad price. I bought it in cash. What's up, Steven? How are you? Yep, it doesn't matter what time period that we're in. So last two things I wanted to cover is, the first one being is, and listen, this is just from what I hear, my heart goes out to anyone that had any problems in Atlantic City, but I know of at least one dealer that was roughed up a little bit in the Atlantic City area. And in general, that area, unless you're inside a casino, is a little bit uncomfortable. It's not just because of the Atlantic City area. Yes, so, it's not like Point Pleasant when you feel very free to walk on the boardwalk there. Like, it's not that nice there. It's nice inside the Borgata. It's nice inside the Hard Rock Hotel. It's not nice, like, on the walks in between, whereas in Vegas, you'd be happy to walk in between. So that was one of the things I wanted to mention. Another thing, and obviously this is kind of, personal and near and dear to me. You're damn right it is. Love you, Yogi. Listen, for those of you who, have been tuned in the last several weeks, kind of what I'm going through personally. The National is a grind. And, mentally, it was difficult every day to be looking at the glasses half full. I was able to do that with the support of my friends, my family, and my team. But, it's highly personal in nature for me. And so I was telling people I hadn't seen in a while about getting divorced. And, so there was a lot of emotion and mixed in the week. And so what I'm trying to say is, hey, what's up, Jim? Thanks for joining us. I appreciate each and every person that I met in person at the National, the folks that I did share a little bit more what was going on in my personal life. I appreciate that support. I feel it back 1,000%. I feel that love. And I think that I'm going to continue on my, if you will, my journey. We're going to resurrect trading card therapy next week. We're going to get you the details on that. I'm going to continue to share with people my journey. And one of the things that I vow for next year, and I'll probably do something, I'm hoping in conjunction with Darren Ravel, is Darren is genuinely focused on mental health. But considering all that's going on in the world, and every day I open up the New York Post app, or CNN's app, or Fox's app, right, and getting news, like, unless you turn to the sports section quickly, it's not usually that uplifting. And so I just want to make sure that folks out there know that not only is it not lost on me, the love that I felt and the support and appreciation from my team, my friends, and from the people I saw at the National, but you should not be afraid either to speak up. So, if someone just says to you, how's your day? And things are going really badly because your, friend is sick or you're feeling depressed, like, you don't have to hide that stuff. I'm not saying wear it on your t-shirt. I'm not telling you get a tattoo. Figure out who your circle is. But you can do it. It's hard. And I think it's a coach from Duke, Karen Lawson, but I'll get the name the next time for the next show. She has this video that I played for the guys several times before leaving for the National about how to handle hard and handling hard better. And what she's doing is she's talking to the Duke women's basketball team, and she's saying, just because you're going to have a degree from Duke, just because you play basketball for Duke, you think when you get out in the world that things are just going to be easy? And she's like, guess what? When people think you can handle things, it's going to get harder. So my advice for people out there is own your shit. Don't be afraid to lean on a neighbor, a friend, a family member. Heck, I'm nice to, people I meet at the barber shop. I just saw Luis over at La Pergola. I didn't know his name a month ago, but it's fun to get to know the people around you that in your life, even if it's the guy or gal at the diner or at the newspaper shop or at your dentist's office who's the assistant. Any of all those types of people all matter. And just remember, everyone is going through something. They may just not be dealing with it yet. And so my advice to everyone out there is the sooner you can deal with that thing or set of things that needs to be dealt with in your life, do that. Because the moment you start handling hard better, everything else will get easier. So on that note, pretty good first show coming back from the National, Lou. I didn't mean to cut you off there. Did you want to add something there at the end, Lou? Sorry to cut you off. Very much so. And so I'm hoping to start like a wave of this. I think the National should start to be called, and we'll start marketing it like this. It's simply put, it's the World Series of card shows. Like they call it the World Series of poker. There is no better card show in the world. It's the World Series of card shows. And so I encourage and implore you, if you can go next year to Chicago, just collect, and Vintage Breaks will be there proudly. Hopes to meet as many of you as possible. And of course, as my old friends, I hope to see you again. Take it easy, guys. Thanks for tuning in. All right, going to give away a $50 break credit, one prize, because we didn't have someone keep track of the prizes.
Okay, great.
You're good to go?
Yep.
Good to go.
Thank you. This desk still looks foreign to me. I think it's just easier to go down for a minute right? And reset all the equipment.
Yeah.